Reagan Kirk is back. The goaltender from St. Anne, Manitoba is 3-0-2 in her last 5 games. Also her second takeover tour start against Ottawa. She helped Toronto win in Edmonton last season. Meanwhile, for the Charge, Gwyneth Phillips looking for her second straight win and is back here to make it happen. She last faced Toronto back in December and helped her team then to a big comeback win.
So that one's going to go into overtime. One we'll keep an eye on for sure, as there's some real implications in the standings. New York chasing both this Toronto team and Ottawa as well.
The first PWHL game in Calgary officially underway. Fast to Shelton. Fans on the pass. Fast flips it up. Comfort rushes in the Ottawa zone.
Well, and that's an area that Toronto wants to be better at, just getting pucks in deep. They've had some success when they can get it below the goal line in the offensive zone.
The board battle will stall play.
Carla McLeod, who calls Calgary home, and she's got 200 tickets secured for this game.
Mom and dad in the stands along with her siblings. Sceptres.
I said it was a better question to ask her who's not here, because it sounds like just about everyone she knows is here at this game. I said, who's not here? She said, there's no one that's not here.
Very proud to be from Alberta, a Calgarian. As Clark over to Leslie. Cross ice, Larocque, the former Sceptre, pinned along the boards by Dalton. Turnbull for Connors. And the lines have been remixed a little for the Sceptres. Clark to Larocque. Gains the zone, tries to get around Monroe. First game of 2026 for these two teams in this matchup. Kind of odd to think about the fact that their last game, Toronto was tied for second in the standings and Ottawa was tied for 6th.
Well, back in December, a lot has changed since then. And these two teams are going to see each other 3 times, as being one of them in April, so a lot on the line.
Harmon to the end boards. Spooner in the far corner. Gentry giving chase for the Sceptres. Instead helped out by Van Wieren. Was out last game, dealing with a 1-game suspension for a big hit back on Friday. From the point, Savannah Harmon. Emma Greco with the touch. Emma Greco, Michaela Cava, and Brooke McQuaig, of course, part of that big trade from Vancouver. They're in their first ever Battle of Ontario. Pressured by McQuaig. In comes Watts, leading scorer for the Sceptres. Shelton, who scored against Ottawa in that last meeting.
Peyton Hemp does a nice job just to get out into that shot lane.
Phillips out to play and under pressure. Manages to stave off any sort of shot attempt. No shot so far, 3 minutes into this opening frame.
For Carla McLeod, she said their goal is to get back up to that 30-shot range every game. That's when they have success. They were getting under that. She didn't like the offense. She changed lines a little bit, shuffled the deck to see if she could get back to that 30-shot mark.
I'm talking about success. Jenner and Leslie out on the ice right now. In with Clark. The feed, cross ice. Kirk maybe got a touch on that puck. Turnbull. Getting that back pressure. They score! Strikes first in Calgary. Maggie Connors.
On a chance at one end of the ice. Leads to a chance at the other end of the ice. Ottawa starts it off. Both chances looking very similar. Entering the zone with speed. Got a wide drive and a net drive. Emily Clark just doesn't quite connect with Captain Brianne Jenner. Same thing going back the other way, but Toronto is able to connect. Blair Turnbull throws his puck to the front of the net. Maggie Connors is driving into the middle of that ice. deflection rebound off of Gwyneth Phillips, goes right into Connors and into the net.
Connors' third goal of the season, fourth in her career against Ottawa, and she actually opened up scoring against the Charge the last time they met, and she does so again here.
Well, this is one of the lineup changes. It's Connors that came up onto the line with Blair Turnbull, and Daryl Watts joins another line, and those are players that maybe play a similar style, that north-south, wide drive, net drive. Well, you might start to find a little bit of chemistry and something that you're looking for here. Toronto struggled with offense at times this year.
Neutral zone draw just outside the Ottawa blue line. Turnbull on a heater. I mean, she already is coming off of a big run, 2-goal game, adds a primary assist. Monroe as well with a helper on that Connors goal.
Well, and even bigger for her last game,
Shelton
may have been that she got that power play goal. And see if she can get this team's power play going for Toronto. It's been sleepy this year.
Just 5 power play goals for the Sceptres this season, while Ottawa has the most. So discipline will be a factor in this game. Ottawa coming off of a game in which they were dealt many penalties and still managed to shut out Seattle.
Well, Ottawa's the most penalized team in the league. And Toronto doesn't draw a ton.
Meanwhile, Woods with a centering feed. Woods again in the neutral zone, finds Van Wieren. And she'll send it around the boards. Flanagan through distance off the pad. Van Wieren trying to get a touch on the rebound.
Some
Van
great
Wieren.
Traffic in front. Got a little bit of a tip on that. Phillips had to be sharp.
Still in the zone. Finds comfort. A little burst of speed brings it over to the right side. Finds Watts. Watts comes in. Again, Phillips with a piece.
Well, Toronto with some really nice work to get that line change, maintain possession of the puck. They're fresh right now. Ottawa, whose player's been strapped out onto the ice for a while.
Malte pressuring Markowski, then at the point, Harmon. Ottawa need to exit gracefully. Does just that. McQuigg passes to herself, dumps it. Watts cross ice. The Charge down by 1 early here in Calgary. Icing call.
The early goal, couple of good shots on net.
Charge in their own end. Trying to work it around the outside. Hughes. A nice move. Hughes among the scoring leaders for Ottawa when it comes to takeover tour games. Turnbull! Dangerously close, just misses the net. Another chance. Toronto jumping out with intention. A team that, of course, coming off of back-to-back regulation losses, and in the PWHL, a regulation win is worth 3. A feed for Clark. Turnbull gets in front. Fast. Her pass off the stick of Jenner, and a save from Kirk. The first shot on goal for the Charge, but Toronto up first in Calgary, courtesy of Maggie Connors.
And take a look at these standings. New York picks up 2 points in that one. It was an overtime win, so they put themselves into striking distance, at least to catch Toronto where they sit right now. So, as we said, all of these games are becoming so important down the stretch. And Toronto was 6 games in April, 3 against Ottawa, 2 against New York.
And that's an important note when you consider the opportunity for New York, possibly even Vancouver, to slide on through if they can. But
of course, I think Vancouver took the loss today.
Gentry from an angle. So New York poised potentially better if points get split between Ottawa and Toronto. Then if they win against the Sceptres, Markowski over to Gilday. Katarova was looking for Mrazova along the blue line.
She's just a step too late. Mrazova was too high for that pass. So Ottawa really struggling to get out of their zone with any pace right now. Toronto's coming in waves at them. Just another line change. So they're coming out with fresh legs.
Fast to the end boards, keeping the puck deep. Some fresh skaters out for the Sceptres. Meanwhile, the Charge get on the move. House was in the middle, but out comes Clara Van Wieren. Her pass taken away by McQuigg along the near wall. Riley smothered by Comfort. Savalainen, the stretch play for McQuigg, a little too hot. Off the wall, Comfort to Malte, to Watts! And it's blocked by Malte. Hemp scored her first PWHL goal in Seattle on Sunday.
Almost surprising it took her that long to get one. I think she's been very good for this team. She works hard. She's been very visible. I think a player that's earned a lot more ice time from what she was getting at the start of the year.
You know, someone McLeod was absolutely excited about heading into this season. Knew good things would come, being rewarded on the score sheet now.
Well, at a time for this team where depth scoring is going to become important, you got a player like Emily Clark who's been a little sleepy as of late. Carla McLeod's doing a lot of really good things, but the puck's not going in the net for her, so you need other players to be able to pick that up, pick up the slack.
Riley to Jenner and Leslie. Both teams on the ice, led in scoring by a player who lives and is from that city as Kirk makes a big save. And so Toronto still leads 1-0 here in Calgary.
Morrison, a player who had a good Olympic run with Sweden and has come back, moved to the middle of the ice with Toronto, so she's playing center now. And 3 goals since the Olympic break. 2 of those, of course, empty netters, but on the board nevertheless in her first season in the PWHL.
Charge, hold the zone, Greco. Down for Katarova. Katarova, an absolute spark for the Charge this season as Greco through distance. Hjalmarsson was on it. Down goes Zanin and Mrazova. We'll have our first penalty of the game, a hooking call.
So Toronto to the penalty box. So Savannah Harmon's going to go to the penalty box on a hooking call against top power play in the league. A couple things maybe you could call there, Zan, and as she was falling, got the stick up as well. So Harmon's going to go to the penalty box. His power play for Ottawa has been very good, operating just over 20%.
And watch as Leslie comes in on the power play. Glenn Gilday now. Back to Leslie. Power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel, Paper Towel, power through tough messes and so much more. That #1 ranked power play, 14 for 67, 21.1%. They're 50% against the Sceptres this season, 2 for 4. Through those 2 games, in tight once more. Kirk kicks it out. Jenner and Gilday trade. Gilday down for Clark. Cleared out by Shelby.
Well, you look at a reason why this power play has been so good. The addition of someone like Rory Gilday and the point shot that she has. And then the play of Rebecca Leslie down low. She had a nifty little look just trying to throw that puck to net in that last sequence. But the way she's played this year, it's been a real boon to the power play as well.
7 players contributing to Ottawa's power play this season. Leslie having 4 of those 14 power play goals. Savalainen for Katarova. They'll send it around, keep it high. One-timer doesn't fire, was Nevich. Closing in. 25 seconds to go on this Ottawa power play. Cava is looking for Clark. And the crowd inside the Saddle Dome energized here. As right now the Charge still looking to equalize. Time will expire on this power play, and a good penalty kill as Harmon hops out, and Shelton meanwhile drives towards the net, goes down, draws a penalty, and so now the Sceptres will head on the power play.
Well, Steph Markowski, whose grandfather is in the house, just turned 92 today, and he gets a happy birthday from the arena. Maybe more people than have ever sang happy birthday to him in those 92 years. He gets to watch his granddaughter play hockey live.
Sceptres on the power play, but right now stalled in the far corner of the Ottawa zone as Leslie is keeping the puck away and moving it just enough. There's no whistle yet and just chewing up time.
Doing a great job just dancing with those feet to keep that puck into the boards.
Turnbull and fast. Cross for Watts. Watts down low for Comfort as she tries to bat it in.
And Watts does a really nice job just to hesitate just enough.
So a minute 24 on this power play, brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. The Sceptres 7th when it comes to their power play ranking at 9.6%, but they are 1 for 9 against the Charge this season. Watts down low for Comfort. They trade. Still kept to the outside, to the point for Fast with Shelton. As the play is whistled dead, and an interference call will disrupt this power play.
So it looks like Jesse Comfort's going to go to the penalty box.
Connors. Cross ice for Malte. There is plenty of ice right now. Sceptres were humming on their first player advantage of the game. Gilday getting her stick on it. Now Morazova. In comes Malte.
Wisniewicz with some really nice support just to make sure that she gets in and cleans up that puck on the board battle. Gives her team possession, allows for the change.
15 seconds remaining on the Ottawa penalty. And the Charge will have an advantage. It's something, of course, that they do need to manage both teams here. Hjalmarsson trying to keep it out of reach for Jenner, but Riley. And in comes Jenner with a nice play. Kirk able to seal the post. And it is 5-on-4, 37 seconds. Clark. And a good clear from Hjalmarsson as she heads off.
Well, Moreau was down. She was hurt in a collision, and then she was left in no man's land trying to defend against Brianne Jenner. So as she gets to her feet, Jenner comes in with a head of steam.
Jenner once more over to Leslie. The two of them combined have 7 power play goals this season. 2 more than the Sceptres. 5 seconds remaining. Watts takes the puck up for Turnbull. As she comes in, needing to get a step ahead and can't find a way past Gilday.
I think she had Watts on the drop pass right away, and she entered that zone.
Flanagan trying to keep it in zone for the Sceptres. Back to even strength. That was Ottawa's second power play, brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel. From the point, Harmon, Woods sends it around once again. Gilday cleaning up in front of play, and what a play it was. Van Weeren finding Zanin. From the point this time, Greco for Vasco. In comes Hjalmarsson off the bench. And what a collision that is. Gentry and Hjalmarsson taking down Greco. 2 minutes to go here in the first period. Toronto scoring The only goal so far, 3 minutes, 34 seconds into this game.
Toronto throwing some really heavy pressure on the forecheck.
You've got some heavy hitting players in Turnbull, fast.
There hasn't been a lot of sustained zone time that hasn't been on the power play for Ottawa so far this period. It's really been all about Toronto getting in, getting on the forecheck, being heavy, exactly the things they want to do.
Riley sends it over for Katarova. Scores! Venuza Katarova ties it up in Calgary.
But what a player she has been for this team this year. 6th round draft pick. And just a surprise, I think, for everyone in the organization as she's just been outstanding. She takes her time, walks in, takes the real estate that's given to her, and then she snaps this one high. No pressure on her initially when she gets this puck, so it allows her to take another 2-3 strides in before she releases that shot. She puts her team on the board
as we get set for this face-off. Just to the right of Reagan Kirk. Malte wins it. Watts looking up, and another collision there as Savalainen were looking to take the momentum away from Comfort. In the final minute of the first period, Katarova able to tie things up for the charge. Catherine Riley, you talk about steals. Well, here's a camp invite who's been incredible for the charge as well. Watts. The camp invite, by the way, who put her medical studies on hold to pursue this dream, and she has been tremendous so far. Savalainen held up at the boards by Watts. 28 seconds to go. A tie game inside the Saddle Dome. Turnbull flies off the bench, brings it around, takes the shot, rebound loose. Hughes gets a stick on it, and Turnbull once again trying to make something happen. 8 seconds remaining. Helps Hughes off the puck in the neutral zone. One more shot. There it is, turned aside by Phillips. Shots even, and so is the score. Cassie Campbell-Pascal joins Becky and I to talk about life in Calgary. That's all ahead in the first intermission. It's 1-1 Sceptres charge inside the Saddle Dome. And here's the stats through the first 20 minutes, tied in the score, tied in shots, and in scoring chances. We talked about how close these two teams play one another. Face-offs, though, advantage to the Sceptres early in this game. Meanwhile, for the Charge, they have 17 allowed goals here in this middle frame.
Well, there's a lot of places these two teams really line up well if you look at them, and it really is going to be a battle to the end of the season to see if either of these two are going to be the one to take that last playoff spot.
Malte with a burst of speed on the far side. Holds on. Chased down by Jenner. Clark for Leslie. 2-on-1. Saved by Kirk.
Rebecca Leslie with a nice little toe drag. She brings this puck to the middle of the ice and gets the shot off. Of course, Emily Clark with all sorts of speed. So speed bringing the puck out. There's her speed through the neutral zone. Leslie with the toe drag pulls that puck in, is able to get it off, snap it between the defender's legs. And there's Clark beating her D to the net. So any rebound, she's going to be there to pounce on it. Clark, who was bumped up onto this line as part of the shuffle to get more offense going.
Katarova with the win, but out comes Turnbull possessing the puck. Over for Connors. Sharp angle shot. Connors who opens scoring here in Calgary. Laurent looking back. Morazova for Katarova. Zips it across ice. Wozniewicz in the far corner. Kept to the outside, the Sceptres. To get the puck out of their own end. The far point, Markowski.
And I think for Ottawa, you want to get down there, put some pressure on, because it has been a source of some problems for Toronto over the last couple games. Getting out of the zone clean.
Hughes keeps it herself. Cross, Cava on the doorstep. Greco winds up. Still buzzing around the net. Connors off the boards. And the charge. Still in the offensive zone. Harmon tries to send it out. Hemp with a quick play. Banks it off. Flanagan looking for some space. Sends it along the near wall.
When you start to look at reasons why you give up goals in the second period, getting hemmed in for periods of time would be that reason. And again, it's happened to Toronto, it's happened to Ottawa as well. And then you really are battling a line change.
Of course, for the Charge, they were able to erase deficits in the third period. But for these teams, when you're chasing those 3 points for a regulation win, the far point this time, Jenner opts to dump it as well. Burke sets the puck. Savalainen rushes in. Zanin pushed off the puck by Clark. Leslie. The first line goes to work for the Charge. For Larocque. Leslie again. And a play from Clark.
Leslie with the nice look. Again, Ottawa with the zone time.
.8% at the dot coming into this one. Wins it here. Clark kept behind the net of Kirk. Fast. Trying to get a stick on it. Working it around the official. Watts. And send it out of the zone. A pop play. Watts has the puck. Harmon in the middle, up for comfort. Held up by Riley. Riley with an assist in this game.
Well, she does a nice job just to gap up and take away that red line. So Toronto just trying to get to the line, get the puck in deep. Both teams just trying to get the puck in deep right now. The road jam, roadblock.
Larocque manages to do so, but Harmon, their first. Hemp trying to pounce on it in the neutral zone. Time just winding down here in the second period, tied at 1. A late period equalizer from Benuza Katarova. Greco is looking for Hemp down low. Cava as well. And up to the point as she sends it on the boards, and a heavy hit from Shelbin. Hughes taking exception to that. No call. Toronto comes in, turned aside by Phillips. No look shot from the slot. Now the captain rushes in at the half boards. Dalton worked to retrieve that puck. It's a stalemate right now along the near wall. There's the whistle. Jenner in the Ottawa zone. Stopping what was a dangerous look from Watts.
I think the Watts come for combination. I think they could have something there. Two players that have a similar style of play.
Just allow for that offensive creativity.
Well, and that's just it, right? Some real creativity. So you start to get some identities on these lines. Scoring chance for the Toronto Sceptres early on. Emma Malte, who you start to talk about what your identity is on a line. Emma Malte, who's playing center on this line, but quite often is the first forechecker in throwing the body. One of the hits leaders on this team.
Turnbull wins the draw for Toronto. Schemes across the crease. Another chance from Shelton as Turnbull trying to go for the redirect. The captain has been all over it. It seems like she's found another gear, Becky, especially in these last few games.
Well, you start to get some confidence when you start to put pucks in the net. You can see with Toronto just shooting the puck from everywhere, looking to create something, get some traffic in front.
Short pass to Connors. She's kept to the far side. Forced to send it around, and Phillips goes down.
She got tangled up with Blair Turnbull, so I'm not sure who tripped whom there, but both were hoping for a penalty.
Hughes was looking for him. Dalton comes in. Brings it back the other way. Claire Dalton. For Van Wieren. Through traffic. It goes wide. Jalmerson getting a touch on it.
I think she's just looking for a shot and a tip there. She's got a couple sticks in front.
Into the neutral zone. Hem. She'll hold on, take the shot. Kirk will cover.
Look at the hits leaders in this league right now. 4 of those 5 are all in this game. Renata Fast, who always sits atop that leaderboard. Emma Malte, who's a player that could be on there as well, is she likes to throw the body. So you got to figure you're looking at a physical 2 teams, going to be a physical game.
And I'm so impressed by Vasco, who averages just over 10 minutes a game in her role on that 4th line. So she executes well to amount and record that many hits as Comfort comes in on the far side. Waits for support. Sit around the boards. Now Malte to shuffle it up. One-timer from Fast. Can't hold the zone.
Malte does Fast does a nice job to get body position after that puck goes into Jenner's pads.
Woods stalled it at the boards. Flips it in. Big hit that time on Jenner from Fast, and it'll draw the penalty.
Oh, we just said who the top hits leaders were in this league, and there's Renata Fast, one of them. This one she's going to get called for. She gets a real good piece of Brianne Jenner and her Team Canada teammate.
Toronto, number 67, minor penalty, boarding.
Sorry, Emma Woods is going to go to the penalty box. Either way, that puts the number 1 power play in the league back on the power play.
Here was Fast who laid the hit. However, Fast is now out on the PK. That's how it works here in the PWHL with the no escape rule. Right now, Ottawa, one-timer, and they look to bury it. Was Nevich on the doorstep, and of course, they're not going to like that at all. The crowd in Calgary loves what they're seeing.
Savalina puts a quick puck on net. Well, she gets an opportunity on this unit of the power play.
3rd power play for the Charge, brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. Neutral zone draw just outside the Toronto blue line. As Katarova, Mrazova, Wisnevich have some words. Wisnevich has scored many a game winner, but yet to score a power play goal. Katarova has 2 on the player advantage this season. As Watts tries to get a good clear. She circles back. Katarova eyeing up options. Savalainen for Mrazova. Savalainen again to Katarova. Taking her time. Options at the goal line. Mrazova one-timer blocked in front. Shelbin with a good backhand to clear.
That's some good puck movement. And Toronto's got to be really aware that that cross crease pass isn't there, so as they take that away, it opens up Mrazova for the quick one-timer.
58 seconds remaining. Plenty of time here for the Charge. They had 3 total shots in their last 2 power plays. Jenner comes in, has Hughes across but holds. Up for Clark, and it just misses a connection as Malte comes in, looking for a jailbreak opportunity. In the PWHL, if you score shorthanded, not only do you get that goal, you also end the power play for your opponent, again, freeing your teammate, hence the jailbreak. 25 seconds to go here. Charge on the advantage, Jenner. Her option taken away by Fast. Comfort. Now Gilday. Trying to bring it across the ice back to the point. Jenner at even strength now. But Ottawa in the zone. Off the stick of Jenner, and so they'll have to go back into neutral ice.
Well, and it is an interesting looking power play in both units. It can set up really good with their puck recovery, and they get their setup and they get their looks. So don't want to take too many penalties against Ottawa.
Clark is looking for Vasco. Harmon comes in at Comfort. Now puts it ahead as Turnbull with the speed gets in front of Larock. At the point, Connors going to work it around the outside. Under 8 minutes left here in the second period. The pace picking up here in the middle frame.
Well, ever since they've had a little bit of pushing and shoving, it seems to have infused a little energy into this one. Blair Turnbull, who did a nice job to get down, negate an icing.
Well, that crowd reaction is one way to fuel it. Good stick by Shelbin to take away the puck. Now Jalmerson for Connors. Connors working it up the right side. Hole takes a shot, stick save from Phillips. Katarova to Wozniewicz. Centering feed. It's the near side wall instead. Greco at the point. Mrazova trying to turn with eyes to the net. Katarova had it in zone for just a moment, and a giveaway here as Watts brings it in. No need to save, it goes wide instead as Watts gets another chance, a sliding block, and what a block it is from Greco.
That's just a great defensive play. She uses her hand as well.
Malte to come for Watts. They still create some looks there. Right now the Charge still lead in shots, but just barely. 17-15. Malte. Cava comes in, makes the block. Harmon. And finding a little bit of success here on the right side, at least able to hold the zone as Harmon. In they come. That was Zanin with the zip. Fast into control. Cava stays with her. Woods at the far side doesn't quite get the backhand on the puck as she wanted. Hughes trying to give the Charge time to set up. Woods looking for a stretch play for Zanin.
Does it look like Daryl Watts is going to complete that pass?
Leslie was in behind the net. Plenty of board play here during the second period. 5.5 remaining in the middle frame. Van Wieren to get the puck out of the Toronto end as Riley winds up. Another chance for Clark, that time on the doorstep. Sends the puck back to the point. Riley off the end boards. Leslie in the mix. Van Wieren and Shelton trying to get it to safety, but Riley not the power she wanted on the shot. Larock able to clean it up.
Riley with a few opportunities. I thought that second one she put wide of the net. Maybe she was looking for a bank off the end boards and didn't get the bank that she wanted. Sometimes you can just chip it and get it to settle right back out front of the net.
Both teams still tied at 1. As was the score heading into this period. Teams that have struggled defensively in second period play. Looking to break through. Connors takes it around, a wraparound attempt. Phillips with the freeze. 4:23 remaining in the second period with his PWHL takeover tour in Calgary.
Well, these two teams always play each other tight. Last time they faced off, it was an overtime win for the Ottawa Charge, but Toronto, who came out of the gate strong, and they got 3 early, so Ottawa had to storm back 3 unanswered goals to tie it up, and then it was Rebecca Leslie in overtime to seal the deal and get her team the win. So the comeback's not something we see every day, but certainly the overtime is commonplace for these two teams, and one-goal games certainly are.
And And that was Rebecca Leslie's first game-winning goal and multi-goal game of her career. How that has changed. She now has 4 game winners to her credit. An incredible season for her.
When you're looking at these two teams and you wonder what it's going to be like coming down the stretch, I would suspect a lot of close games.
Well, 5 of their 13 previous meetings have been decided by a goal. Here comes Connors. Just as fast, though, Gilday zips it across Turnbull. A good stick from Savalainen. Send the puck a different direction.
Well, again, from this line, just a little chip play, right? Chip the puck in the neutral zone. Chip it past a D and try to get yourself off to the races. Maggie Connors gets in on that puck and then makes that pass to Blair Turnbull. I think maybe she gets a shot off quick. Gets it off on a one-time. Have something going.
Hem through traffic, nearly maintains possession. Cava looking to help out. Woods tries to fire it off the board, still in the Sceptres zone. Fast. Brings it in to charge territory. Shelton. The near corner this time, Riley comes in under 3 minutes remaining here in the second period. And Becky, despite the tight games, 10 of their 13 previous meetings have ended in regulation, and that's what they're looking for tonight for one of these teams. They don't want to share any points with the very team they're going to need to beat for that spot. Malte! Drop the shoulder, it's still alive. Phillips covers.
One of the things she does so well is bring that physicality to her game. Of course, her speed, her ability to put up points. She had a huge year last year. We're starting to see that again now this year. And definitely the minutes. She's always going to put up big minutes for this Toronto team.
She just seems to do it all. Represents the team so well, and was with Sarah Nurse at the Juno Awards, Canada's premier music awards, on Sunday, right after playing Vancouver.
Told us she got a workout in, though, before she left for the Junos.
So impressive. Greco and Leslie as Larocque puts it down, and Clark keeps the puck herself. It's blocked. Off the wall. Malte for Watts.
Both these teams really looking to kick gritty goals, and Ottawa's done a really nice job to make sure they have not 1 but 2 players to the front of the net every time there's an opportunity to put the puck to the point. They've got traffic in front.
Well, 1:30 remaining here in the second period. Toronto allowed a late period goal from Katarova in the first to tie things up. They're looking to get the go-ahead here. The final minutes. Zanin held off it by Markowski, who hails from Edmonton. And that'd be fun to see. Hey, a Battle of Alberta one day in the PWHL. Right now, this Battle of Ontario was Nevich. Held up in the near corner by Fast, who has just seemed to play this entire game, Becky. We expect big minutes from her, and she often leads. Shelton, though, has been the time-on-ice leader for Toronto this season.
Well, Fast just threw 2 more hits on her way off to the players' bench, so I think she got Gabby Hughes once again. So her and Hughes in a little bit of a battle in this game.
Well, Toronto has a 10-day break after this. They want to do what they can here in Calgary as Hughes gets the post. 35 seconds to go. Through the middle, that's Connors able to settle it. Maggie Connors, who will join our Kelly Vanderbeek in the second intermission. 20 seconds to go here in this period.
And this game just starts to escalate physically. Ottawa with an opportunity to throw that one from a bad angle. Catches the side of the net, maybe a little bit at the post. A lot of bad angle shots where these teams are looking to create, manufacture offense. So there's that hit on Dalton. Attracts a little bit of attention after the fact.
17.7 seconds left here in the second period. Shots 19-17 for the Charge. Clark tried to put it in deep, and Connors Turnbull. And so a scrappy finish here to the second period, as the score remains 1-1 in Calgary. Takeover tour in full effect inside the Scotiabank Saddle Dome. You're watching the DoorDash Takeover Tour Calgary. We'll be right back. Here's a quick snapshot through two periods. Shots 2017. No goals on the power play. And we'll check in now with head coach Carla McLeod. She's with Kelly Vanderbeek.
Thanks, Daniela. Carla, I know when you were here when you were young, you actually got to see number 99, the great one, on this ice with the Kings. Who do you hope this crowd will leave with as a lifelong memory who they got to watch?
Well, they got many to choose from. The talent on this ice surface between these two teams is phenomenal. Across our league, it's phenomenal. And it's so important that the young girls and boys in this audience can now get the jerseys of these women. It's been a long time coming.
It sure has. And Daniela and Becky were just talking about how the game is becoming pretty physical now. It's getting pretty chippy. What do you expect? Because this is also the first of 3 matchups this month.
Yeah, it's just fun hockey. That's this league. It's always been this league. So certainly I'm sure we'll see more of this in the third period. But it's good hockey for this crowd, and they've been a great crowd all night.
Good hockey and more to come. All right, Daniela, Becky.
Thanks so much, Kelly. And Carla wearing pink and black, a little bit of red. She told us it's not quite a nod to Bret the Hitman Hart, but hey, it could be.
Well, she said it wasn't intentionally a nod to Bret the Hitman Hart, but it was pointed out to her that maybe it was his colors in his ring.
Absolutely. Is there a big hit to start the third period? As expected, it's not a surprise. It is certainly welcome and the standard now in the PWHL.
Well, Renata Fast took that one just as she came clear of the players' bench, so at an awkward spot on the ice, she takes a big hit.
And an update on Ali Monroe. She is out for the game, and that is a tough loss for the Sceptres. They do have a 10-day break after this. Hopefully that'll be enough to get number 12 back in the lineup. Did mention it was in their last meeting back on December 23rd. She was injured enough to have to miss a good stretch of games for the Sceptres. Harmon from the point. Turnbull with the steal in the feed to Connors. They score! Claire Dalton in Calgary. A goal a long time coming. Her first as a Sceptre.
Gwyneth Phillips makes an outstanding save on this play as this puck just bounces past Savaline, and beautiful pass, and there's that left pad save. Looks like maybe she saved the day, but Dalton is able to come in and clean up the rebound, the garbage. What a pass from Blair Turnbull. As Phillips stops one, but she can't stop two. A couple times that's happened to Savaline in this game. This puck's just flipped up. She's popping out to try to play it. It bounces past her. Toronto takes advantage.
Claire Dalton with the go-ahead goal for Toronto. It has been a 47-game goal drought for a player who scored the first ever goal for the Montreal Victoire, someone who had a hat trick in the inaugural season, and finding her way here.
Well, you said it earlier, Danielle, these two teams that are chasing each other, what they don't want to do is only get 2 points out of one of these games. For both of these teams, it's really important to try to end this one in regulation and get 3 points out of it. You want some distance between you and the teams that are chasing you.
And how about Maggie Connors as well? 2 points now in this game as Spooner comes in. Her shot goes behind the net of Phillips. We've seen scoring within the first 4 minutes of the first period, then within the last 2 minutes of that same frame, none in the second, and then early within the first minute here in the third period.
Well, and initially with a nice feed from Blair Turnbull, who's just absolutely been on fire with this team as of late. Toronto just starting to pour it on as Spooner gets the most recent attempt on net.
Turnbull as well with 2 points. The primary on Connor's goal, the secondary there. The captain just driving it all. In fact, she's been in on the last 4 goals for the Sceptres. Pad save, loose rebound, Vasco coming in to help out as the Charge now once again looking to equalize. They have been a third period team. You cannot sleep on the Charge. They have come back to win games in the final minute. I don't want to leave it that late here.
Something they've done a lot better job of this year than previous seasons is being able to battle back in the third and be able to win games in overtime. That was a real problem in the first 2 seasons for Ottawa.
The near point, Flanagan kept it in. Malte at the far side. And the Charge, they're always looking for around 30 shots in a game. They know that 3 goals is a good number. Right now looking for another. Leslie with a tip-in chance. Larocque at the point. Shelton and Flanagan to keep it away from Leslie. Malte plays the puck ahead for herself. Reinforcements come in. Mrazova is looking for Wisniewicz in the middle. Offside the call.
Rebecca Leslie, who initiates the breakout, then drives the net, gets the feedback from Jenner on her backhand, just can't quite corral it. Or sorry, from Clark. Gets that pass back. Can't quite corral it on net on that backhand, but a good opportunity. Nevertheless, as this line continues to use their speed and get pucks to the net.
Talked at length about the tight playoff race. Hemp keeps it in the zone. Greco from the point is just wide. She's hoping to send it down for one of her own. Hemp. Touch pass for Cava. Big save. Cava gets the puck again. Make that Turnbull in front. Shelbin. Dalton trying to throw it off the boards. Of course, a neutral site game. Unfamiliar ice for both teams. Ottawa is the home team here. Greco. A good stick from Dalton, so she's got a goal and keeps adding to her block tally here. Markowski sends it down. Jenner for next best. Tries to throw it on the post. Sealed by Kirk. Clark off the bodies in front. Now Harmon. Connors will just send it into the Ottawa zone. Icing will return it. Vasco. V. Jalmerson. Ottawa charged with possession. Gilday, it's blocked. Zanin, the quick feed for Spooner. But her flip ahead will be another icing, a return to the same spot.
Well, a player who's been very good for this Ottawa team in Sarah Wisniewicz, rookie season, 5 goals and 5 assists. Lots of speed, getting some good ice time. Player that when we talked to Carla McLeod about her earlier this season, they're really happy with what they've seen. And, you know, sometimes it really comes down to what you're going to get out of your rookies. We've seen a real disparity in this league from what they've been able to get in terms of production from their draft picks, from their rookies. And when you look at the production from the Ottawa rookies, Vanusa Katarova is not considered a rookie, so they've done pretty well by their rookies, and by their draft picks.
Exactly, as Spooner brings the puck into the zone. 2 players twisted up. Meanwhile, Hughes keeps it away from Van Wieren. And she gets bullied away from the puck. Harmon.
Smart play by Woods just to chip that puck in deep. Both teams struggling to get through the neutral zone.
Toronto retaking the lead here in the third period. Now the Rockin' Woods getting into it. Discipline will be key. A stick save from Phillips. Managing to do so despite Riley and Woods getting into it in front. Now Malte with a turn and fire into the glove of Phillips. And the crowd loves it. It might be a takeover game. Ottawa is the home and they're happy with this save.
Ottawa's rookies have been very good for them this season, sitting at 28 points. Now, that could be a lot higher if you consider Venusa Katarova as a rookie. She's too old to be called a rookie, so if you look at this in terms of draft picks, Ottawa would be sitting at 38 points. Big drop-off between them, Toronto, Vancouver, and Seattle, picking up the bottom of the league. And so you look at where you're getting your scoring from. You want it from all over the place, but getting some from your youth and your rookies is a big part of it.
Well, New York, a lot to be proud of, considering the Sirens absolutely bet on their young players to be the difference, and they're still in this playoff race. Montreal clinching a playoff spot with a win today, so just 2 open spots remaining for the rest of the teams. No one has been eliminated from contention.
It really does feel like it's a fight for that 4th spot, though. Minnesota sitting 10 points ahead of Ottawa right now, and not clinched, but getting pretty close.
Leslie goes down, no call. Jenner will play through it. So an Ottawa team heavily penalized in their last game, now likely feeling like they're not getting some calls here, but either way, they'll play through. That has been their mantra. Carla McLeod telling us that that's what they keep having to remind themselves of. You can only control what you can control, and that puck goes into the crowd.
Good friend of Carla McLeod is an Ottawa fan. She came with her daughter, who is a Sceptres fan. So,
oh boy,
an interesting ride back to Saskatchewan after this one.
Turnbull loses an edge, or maybe was forced to do so. Oh, Larocque looking for Wisniewicz, fast for Turnbull.
That was a nice little pop play by Fast to the middle of the ice to get that puck out of the zone.
A 2-1 lead for Toronto, trailing in shots by 1. Hughes rushing to get on the puck. And now another chance for Hughes. Cleared out of the slot.
Flanagan thought she had support in behind and reversed that puck right to Hughes behind the goal line.
Cava had Hemp on the doorstep. Out comes Connors. Connors with 2 points in this game, the opening goal, and an assist on Dalton's.
That's when, as a coach, you start to feel like a real genius. You mix the lines up a little bit, and it starts to pay off. Turnbull, Connors, and Dalton, a new line.
Well, of course, they're doing this in an effort to get to playoffs for the 3rd straight season, the Sceptres, and where Ryan knows can't necessarily be experimenting in the postseason. Looking to find it here down the slot. Good stick from Phillips. Still in Ottawa territory, held up along the near wall. Spooner sends it back. Gilday. Quick passes as House flips it down deep. Vasco. A hit from Shelton. Van Wieren. And to send it across for Spooner.
Savalainen comes across. He's able to glove that one down. Stand up through the neutral zone.
Shelton and Fast. Now Van Wieren. Larocque.
Fast with another huge hit on her former D partner.
Yeah, massive hit. Those two so familiar. You said it. D partners as Sceptres, of course, with Team Canada as well. Larocque. Send it around the boards. Jenner and Leslie are there. It's kicked out by Turnbull. Dalton has to flip it up over the head of Greco.
I think Blair Turnbull might have been off to the races if she could have got a stick on that bouncing puck. And just looking to tip it past Greco.
Past the 10-minute mark here in the 3rd period. 2-1 was the final in Edmonton when these two teams played their first ever takeover tour matchup. That was in Alberta. Wisniewicz comes in. Kept to the perimeter by Harmon. Markowski down for Katarova, looking for her second of the game. So some chances for Ottawa, but how about Claire Dalton? The go-ahead for Toronto here in the third. Welcome back inside the Scotiabank Saddledome, where tonight's attendance in Calgary, 16,150 for this takeover tour stop, and it is the second last takeover tour stop. This is number 15 here in season 3. So impressive. It's the 9th takeover tour game for Ottawa, number 6 for Toronto. Toronto with the honor of playing in games in cities that have always been the first or only, as Malte puts it towards Phillips as Fast was streaking down the middle. Katarova, though, quickly at the other end. What a play, and then takes out Kirk. She gets pushed into the net.
Well, chances at either end of the ice, and Toronto, who creates an odd player advantage, the amount of fast streaks to the net. And Emma Malte with some good patience to get her the puck, just waiting it out. She moves fast, is going to get there and get in behind the Ottawa D. And then Katarova the other way. Now, she is not on an off-player rush. In fact, Toronto has numbers, but she's still able to get inside, get that shot off.
But Katarova has never been afraid to just sacrifice her body for the play, to do everything for her team.
And I think that's why her game is translated to this North American game.
Cava for him. Kirk with a save. A big one for the Sceptres. You can hear some Toronto fans in the crowd here. Charge effective at getting their sticks in to disrupt it, but still Toronto with possession. Connors hounded by Riley. There were penalties in the first frame, but that's been about it.
Ella Shelton, who had notions to pinch on that puck and then opted to come back through the neutral zone. That's a good play. You recognize the time of the game, the score of the game, and be a little more conservative on that blue line.
Woods just sent it across ice. Clark with some great hand-eye to get her stick in the way. Jenner. Puck played by Kirk as just Jenner and Leslie were buzzing around the net. A loose stick now on the ice. That belongs to Emma Woods, so off she goes.
Well, just as you said, it had been a clean game. We hadn't had a lot of penalties. We're going to get a penalty here. Take a look along the wall here.
And I do believe we're at even strength, so no call at all. Still 5-on-5. All right, back to the action here in Calgary.
We'll figure that one out later, Daniela. We'll report back.
Savalainen along the near wall. Oh my! Katarova was set up beautifully. Looking to bury that rebound. Kirk in net watching on.
Once
Kirk
again,
having faced 29 shots so far.
And Ottawa with more than one player driving the net. So if they're going to tie this one up, that's going to be the way they do it.
They came back from a 3-goal deficit against Toronto. Now, that was a very different time. It was in 2025. It's a beautiful play through the legs from Morozova, but then she ends up in the near corner. Flash of brilliance from number 16. She gets back to it along the blue line now. House through traffic. Ottawa looking to tie the score. McQueen. Vasco in red behind the net. Out to the far corner, uses the boards, the rock across to Riley. Riley shoots. Just wide once more. Shelbin.
Looked like Riley was looking for that tip in the high slot. Vasco came into the high slot. She just didn't quite get a stick on it.
5:40 to go in the third period. And the Sceptres, Zanin, trying to make a play from the left circle. Hemp and Larocque in for the charge. They want to go for 3 straight wins. And here's the thing, a regulation loss for Ottawa is the only way Toronto jumps back into that playoff spot and wants. Thought she could hold on. Hughes. Flanagan at the far point. As Malte was trying to get that tip in, a nice attempt in the slot.
If she could have corralled that puck, Malte was by herself in the slot.
Now looking for some room. Della Rovere. The third game with the Sceptres. Van Wieren. Woods. Her shot taken away by Clark. Incredible pressure from number 26. As now 4:20 remains. This time it is a penalty, Becky Keller.
Well, this time it looks like we have a high sticking call. Van Wieren is going to go to the penalty box after having a pretty solid shift.
2-minute high stick.
So Van Wieren to the box for a high sticking call.
And that'll send Ottawa to the power play just in time as they look to even the score here in Calgary.
Van Wieren to the penalty box and a high sticking call, so a huge opportunity for Ottawa. As they're battling in the corner, Van Wieren comes in for this check, gets a stick up into Emily Clark's face, so she gets called for that, and the number 1 power play gets another opportunity. And they've had some good setup when they've been on the power play. Haven't gotten a goal out of it yet, but had some opportunities, had some nice looks.
Power play brought to you by Royale Tiger Towel Paper Towel. As Toronto able to send it over the lines. Phillips will settle it down as this is a massive opportunity. Just a 1-goal game, time to tie it.
Well, that face-off win got the puck down the ice and gave Toronto the opportunity to change and get the penalty killers out they want. And one of those would be Blair Turnbull, who does a nice job through the neutral zone a couple of times here.
Turnbull has really helped lead this team. Jenner, captain for the charge, trying to send it over to Clark. That time it was Dalton handling the clear. As we are now a minute into this power play. Ottawa has had more chances on the advantage in this game. All goals, though, scored at even strength. Mrazova dropped off for Wisniewicz. Held up at the boards by Malte. Katarova can't get ahead of Harmon. And now 3 minutes remain in the game.
And Dalton read that first play up at the point very well. So Ottawa really struggling to get into the zone on this power play. Hasn't been a problem as of late, and certainly in this game.
Cava. No space as fast. Takes it away, and then Turnbull does the save. She's just doing it all. Absolutely driven here. You have to think, playing in a place like Calgary, it's where she came right out of college. And she actually moved in with Jenner at the time. Flanagan and the Sceptres with a good penalty kill here as we're back to even strength. And now, of course, just over 2 minutes only left in the third period. There were no shots on that power play, so Ottawa 0 for 4 in this one so far.
Well, you wonder if that's a big momentum shift for Toronto to be able to kill that penalty off that effectively. And just 2 minutes left to kill on the clock.
Oh!
Ottawa was the team that had the most wins in the inaugural season in the Battle of Ontario. They really held their own. Leslie sends it deep once more as in comes some help. We've got an empty net for the Charge and a minute 30 left in the third period. Can they do it with the extra attacker? Wisniewicz looking for Jenner. Jenner has it. Trying to zip it around, but Turnbull in to bust things up. Savalainen. A minute 12 remaining now. That empty net. Ottawa making a last effort here if they can't. All 3 points will go to Toronto. And the Charge will be back down in 5th place. That being said, though, they do have a game in hand. And talk about tension. Tense times in Calgary. Being treated in this matchup here as Shelton sends it around the boards and icing call. 37.3 seconds left here in the third. But it could be an interesting stretch here for Montreal. Jenner at the dot, still 6 on 5 with the empty net. And just 33 seconds to go. As the Sceptres with the clear, it's nowhere near the net, so at least it's still a 1-goal game, but 28.1 seconds remaining.
Well, an opportunity to do this one over and see if Brianne Jenner can win this face-off clean or get the wingers to come in for some reinforcements. Toronto was able to get that last one back, and Shelton was looking for that empty netter.
At the near point, Mrazova. And for Wisniewicz, she'll keep it. Quick exchange with Jenner, zips it across, a one-timer, Savalainen, Jenner, Leslie at the doorstep, 10 seconds to go. Sceptres holding on here, hoping that one goal will be enough. And it is! The Sceptres win in Calgary! 2-1 over the Ottawa Charge inside the Saddledome.
A huge win for Toronto as these two teams are going to battle each other 3 times in the month of April. So now Toronto, who's put themselves back into that last playoff spot with a 3-point win here tonight. 3 huge points as this race continues to heat up as we go down the stretch. New York with the overtime win earlier today to jump 2 points ahead in the standings. So it is awfully tight, and just as we've become accustomed to, Danielle, in the PWHL, it's coming right down to the stretch, and let's hope to the last day as it has the previous 2 seasons.
Reagan Kirk in her return after being injured in practice last week had to miss the last 2 games. She has 28 saves tonight for Toronto's 9th regulation win of the season. That also means the Sceptres are officially back in that 4th place. Only the top 4 teams make the playoffs. However, the Charge have a game in hand. They have more games to play as well before they meet the Sceptres. Things can certainly change as we expect. In fact, that's all we can expect in this league. The Charge once again on the outside looking in. But history has been made in Calgary. 2-point nights for Maggie Connors, who opened scoring. Blair Turnbull, the captain, with 2 assists, and Claire Dalton's first to seal the deal. Thanks for watching the PWHL DoorDash Takeover Tour Calgary. On behalf of Becky Keller, Kelly Vanderbeek, our entire crew, and the PWHL, I'm Daniela Ponticelli. Good night from Calgary.